Hey y'all, Miss Wilkes. Last time, it's that third section for payroll of chapter 6. So, Saffron is married, claims 2 withholding allowances, and has monthly gross earnings of this much. Find her federal withholding tax using the wage bracket method. So whenever you go on Pearson and you're on this homework question, it'll pop up with 4 tables specifically. You're needing the one that matches married monthly, because it says that she was married and has monthly earnings. So her withholding count was what I just circled. That was 2. And her gross earnings show us like where we're supposed to look. So when you're looking for that 27 number, it's on this row right here. And I just took a screenshot of it just so we can kind of like have an idea of what we're looking for. Our 2 withholdings puts us right here at $135. So they'll withhold $135 from her paycheck. Okay, I'm going to skip this question. I'll come back to it. We're going to go to this one. Similarly, this one's about Hamill. He's married, 1 allowance, but he has a weekly paycheck. So you want the married weekly table, and I took a screenshot of that one. Because he has 1 allowance, that's what's going right here. And his weeklies are putting him at $77.90. So that's our total. Subtracting that from gross, so if we subtract that $77.90 from right here, you're going to be at $442.70. So now looking at married weekly, no longer at our allowances, so we click of the 4 tables, we want the one that's married with weekly paychecks. And because of his money, like where he's at, his earnings were at $520 after the other piece, so we need this 0 line right here. So he's going to be 0 plus 10% of that excess over the $164. So 0 plus 10% excess over $164. From there, you're really just pulling your numbers. So I know each of these are going to be zeros right here, and it's 0 because that's a 0. I went ahead and put 10% in as a decimal. Your excess means to subtract. So go to this number, because your allowances are like set aside. We don't touch the allowance. That's saved like for the kid. This will be $442.70. And we're subtracting $164. When you're subtracting that, that's going to put us at $278.70 or 0.7 if you prefer. Performing that calculation all together, you're going to be at $27.87. Okay, I went ahead and pulled where you were at, so you have to go back to the gross pay because allowances are different for that withholding tax. So for your FICA, go back to the original gross pay. It's always gross multiplied through. So this one will put us at $32.28. This one puts us at $7.55. And then I want you to take this number, and this number. Take each of those numbers together, and you're going to add them. The total when you add right here is $67.70. That's your total deductions. So when we subtract that $67.70, again, going back to gross pay, that puts us at $452.90. Okay, going back to that question I skipped, right here. Evelyn Beaton, a commission sales representative, da-da-da-da. Okay, so I tried to break this down as much as I could just so you'd have like a template for whenever you're doing this independently. And if I'm looking here at my gross pay, I was showing you that they took the $4,400 number, that was her monthly salary. Her 2.5% is her commission on her monthly sales. So that's going to put her at $1,393 with 10 cents. And if I combine those, her gross pay is almost $6,000. Like that. When we talk about a withholding allowance, which is abbreviated with that WHA, here it showed us that she had 3 that were in her claims. That's going to go right here. I multiplied it for you, already did that math. Whenever I subtract that gross, which we already did in the first column, and I'm subtracting the 1,012.50, and I just performed the rest of those calculations for you. Did you see? I wrote the sentence for you right here. I pulled that from this part of your table, so that way you could see like how we're reading it, like how you're pulling your numbers whenever you're plugging them in, that sort of thing. And then I went ahead and performed, like I did, the gross multiplied by 6.2%, obviously as a decimal. But what you're going to do, I'm going to label this all for you. I'm going to call this A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So your total deductions, you're going to add all of those answers together. Add all, what is that, 3, 6, 7, all 7 of those together. So your total deductions are going to be almost $2,000. So gross pay, the 5,700 number right here, and we're subtracting that by our deductions, and that's how you know her net pay. That's where she's at. Okay, one more thing, and then chapter 6 is done. Okay, whenever you have, oh gosh, this one. Okay, whenever you have a contribution made by an employee, the employer actually has to match what the employee did. They have to match. They can not over, not under, match perfectly, concisely correct. So whenever you see that you are matching, I want you to think of doubling, like multiplying by 2. So if I just put a 2 here and I put a 2 here, that'll help you quickly calculate your FICA and Medicare taxes. I think Pearson does it a little bit longer. They're like, oh, you're going to write it twice. So they'd be like $8,000 plus $8,000, and that's how they work theirs out. So, okay, chapter 6 had a lot. Goodness gracious.